Thanks for everyone for calling in too. Gives me a chance to not talk. Let's see if that caller is really there, 661, or is that, there's nothing there. It's just silence. It was the same area code as Anthony. I wonder if it wasn't a different call coming in from him. Thanks, chat room. I tried to get all of the questions in during that piece. I think I got, or at least comment on what some of you folks were saying with those pieces. I'm kind of flipping back to make sure I didn't miss anything. And if I did, we could always do that. Let's see how that cloud worked out. Some of you put naughty things into the cloud. So I often have to edit those pieces. There's the cloud, what people said. DOCSIS, not part of the Network Plus exam, fortunately. No, their DOCSIS is in there. Take that back. They talk about it a little bit. Not a lot though. Just in those pieces. Yeah, I've got time for an after show. A little bit. If other people have questions, let's see. Routers, security, network protocols, topologies. I should do more Wireshark. We should do some Wireshark next time and just step through some protocol decodes. Oh, some of you have the snow. We don't have the snow here. I wonder if I have a shot of outside. I really don't. But I can find one. Let's see if I can find one. This piece. Well, here we go. Here's some live cameras at the university, which of course are not online. Well, yes, they are. Not a lot going on at the university at the moment. At Florida State University in Tallahassee, which is where I am. Here's how it looks outside. Not outside my house, but at the university, the college. This is the student union, which is not a greatly placed webcam. It's an odd location for it, but yeah, not a lot of snow on the ground here. We don't get that. I don't know what that is. That's why I live here. For that very reason. I do have plans to put a camera outside. I've been looking for a PTZ, a pan tilt zoom that would allow me to do that. They're not inexpensive. So it's one of those things where I've got to find the right one and put it outside. Yeah, no students on campus today. There's not a lot going on. See if I can find a different one. I haven't looked at any of the Tallahassee webcams lately. There's just not a lot going on there. There's all those crazy links. If you've ever looked for webcams, it's just not great webcam sites. They're difficult to pull up those things. And this one says it has some, but I don't think it does. Not so much. You know, when I'm putting together these study groups, I always wonder if I've got not enough information. Now, I always put it together and think, wow, I do not have enough information here to do a study group. And of course, it goes an hour and 20 minutes. So it's one of those things. Wow, you guys are, I just could not do, the coldness. I'm just not functional. Yeah, I don't do any networking at Florida State. I'm not involved at all with the campus. The best I can do is hopefully one of my kids will go there and I can pay them money to take classes. That's about it. Not in charge. I used to work at Florida State. When I was in college, I worked at Florida State in the computing center with their supercomputers. And I've told this story many times, but the supercomputers at the time they were not chilled with, some of them were chilled with cold water. They were cooled with liquid nitrogen. There was a liquid nitrogen that would go through the supercomputer, and in the back was a cryogenerator that refroze the liquid nitrogen and put it in the storage tank where it would then recycle through again. I think those days are over for We got much more efficient with our supercomputers these days. I don't think very many do liquid nitrogen any longer. I think it's all just regular cold chilled water in those pieces. So that's one of those. Yeah, it was just a webcam. I was flipping around trying to find a webcam. There was one at campus. So there's not a lot of webcams in Tallahassee to pull from, apparently and allegedly. It's all kinds of sites. Some of them that I find are, it says Tallahassee and they're in Orlando. Those kinds of things. One of those. It's one of those challenges. One of my what I'm planning on doing is just having the webcam set up. Maybe a Dropcam would be nice. You ever see those? Those are nice. I would have to have a separate internet connection just for the Dropcam. Those are set up and they're wireless and they record out to the cloud and anybody can connect to them. So I was thinking of doing something like that. They've got a lot of different models. Yeah, I don't want to give you that right now. So you can just put them outside and they got infrared LEDs on these too. Doesn't pan tilt zoom with the PTZ, but it'd be interesting just to put in one place and see what's going on there. Interesting technologies there for those pieces. Yeah, the CASP exam is certainly the next step in security. Let's see what we cover on CASP. I haven't looked at it lately. Let's have a look at the CompTIA website. Let's look at the certification link. Let's go to CASP, CompTIA Advanced Security Practitioner. View the exam objectives. Say my name. I'm in the US. Let's get the exam objectives. Thought I did. Doesn't put CASP in here for me automatically like the others did. Get their developer on the phone. There's one. The CASP, the CAS 0001. Let's see. They go through enterprise security, risk management, policy, procedure, and legal, research and analysis, integration of computing, communications, and business disciplines. So a lot higher level. So distinguish which cryptographic tools and techniques are appropriate for a given situation. We have cryptographic applications and proper implementation and some advanced PKI concepts. So you do get into PKI with wildcards, no CSP, and some of the higher level management functions associated with PKI, which are important to know. So definitely higher level there. Non-repudiation, entropy, PFS, confusion, diffusion. So definitely some higher level concepts relating to encryption and decryption, virtualized, distributed, or shared computing. So you got vulnerabilities, VM escape, privilege elevation. So good. Security implementation, implications of enterprise storage. So they've got iSCSI on here, vSANs, loon masking. So they got some good stuff on there. Yeah, this is some nice content. These are good things to know. If you get into enterprise security, these are things you will need to know. They get into host hardening and some details of that. Restricting interfaces, more specific applications. Some of this has a little bit of overlap with Security Plus, like cross-site scripting and SQL injection. I don't think clickjacking was on Security Plus, was it? I think it was. More tools, password crackers, fuzzers, gray box, social engineering. Okay, risk management, policy, procedure, and legal, my favorite section. Partnerships, outsourcing, mergers, audit findings, the standard operating environment, bringing in personally managed devices. Boy, there's a whole certification you could do just on that one, isn't there? E-discovery, data breach. So this is all policy, which of course for security, you're going to do policy management. That's a huge part of it. Section 3, research and analysis. So best practices, threats, attackers, RFPs, RFQs, RFIs, painful. It's just not, it's not painful. It's necessary, but it's just not what I like to do. Of course, it's important. Of course, it's just not my gig. That's for someone else better than me to do. And section 4, computing, communications, business disciplines, security requirements, the separate disciplines in security, how it would be associated with it, appropriate security controls for unified communication, VoIP. Those are good to know. Prioritization, mobile devices. Got to know SAML, got to know SOAP, certificate-based authentication. These are good things to know. Doesn't go into a lot of VPN stuff or firewalls, or doesn't go into any of that, really. It's not really functional typing things in. It's definitely a higher level security practitioner. That's well named, I guess. So there you go. There's a lot there. I know. That's a big list, isn't it? It is. I think that competes directly with CISSP. That's where they're going. That's what that does. It's if you don't have or not working towards CISSP, that's what it is. And CISSP is definitely a higher level. Definitely one. And Target could use some people with this cert. I don't know. You know, you look at the Target exploit. They took advantage of allegedly took advantage of a web vulnerability or a web misconfiguration. We aren't quite certain which, based on what people have said. Got into the web server. From there, got to a place where they could talk to the point of sale devices. And because the point of sale devices apparently run Windows embedded, they were able to gain access to those devices and install their own software. And from that point on, first, there was an opportunity there to stop it at the web server. There's an opportunity to stop it when they put the malware on the point of sale terminals. How can those not be locked down? I mean, heavily locked down. And then, of course, the point of sale terminals were sending all of the credit card information, grabbing it out of memory before it was encrypted. Because once it went on the network, it was all encrypted. Before it went onto the network to do the credit card authorization, it was in memory. The malware grabbed it out of memory and then transmitted it to a storage device inside the target network. And apparently they just FTP'd into the storage device and pulled everything down occasionally. So there were places to stop that. And I guess, you know, the problem you have with that is it's now all after the fact. It's all easy to say where you should have had things. But each one of those things, can you imagine managing? You would have had to think about managing authentication and change control of all of those point of sale devices, of which they have a lot. Then you would have had to have something on the network that looked for anomalies in communication patterns. A lot of people don't have that on the inside. It's one of the challenges. They have a lot of security on the edge. But if you come in through normal means, I'm going to a web server. That looks normal. Except I'm going to that web server and I'm taking advantage of a vulnerability or a misconfiguration, and I'm getting access to the command line on that server. Now I'm good. I'm doing over port 80. It all looks normal. That's a bit of a challenge. So maybe someday we'll know more about the details. We're learning more all the time about, we know apparently what specific malware was used to install onto the point of sale devices. I don't think we know yet exactly who did it. We know who wrote the malware, but the person who wrote the malware wasn't the person that did all of this at Target. So they don't think for a moment Target doesn't have good security people. They have great security people. An organization that large is hiring very good security people. But it's not really what you know, it's how you implement it. It's process and procedure. It's putting the eyeballs in the right place. It's getting more security on the inside of the organization in the data center. If they had had more security in the data center, they might have been able to stop it. If they had had more security or processes in place with change control on the point of sale devices or locking those down, maybe there was an opportunity. This is all speculation. It's all complete speculation on my part. I don't know. I'm not part of Target. I don't have anything to do with anyone there. I just go with what I read. And the best write-ups have really been Brian Krebs. Krebs on security. If you go to KREBS on security, you want to know more about that, that's where you go. I mean, he's got a great blog. So he's now talking about Michael's. Of course, now since Target, we've had numerous credit card problems that have occurred since then. There's a bug with baby monitors, Bluetooth skimmers at pumps at Raceway and Racetrack. Ouch. Painful in Georgia. You almost don't even hear about these things. The poor media, they don't even know what this means. What do you mean it was a Bluetooth skimmer? What? What is that? How does that work? And then, of course, they ultimately get it wrong. So you want to know what's going on? There you go. I don't. Everything does not point to an inside job at Target. Everything points to being outside. It's remarkable how long these people can sit inside of an organization, and once they gain access to the inside, they just sit there. They were there for months before they started really cranking things up. And once they are there, they can start poking around. They can get their hands on a virtual machine. They can set up a Dropbox for their data, something they can access from the outside. It's quite remarkable. So, add Krebs to your RSS reader. If you don't have an RSS reader, get one. What am I using these days for RSS? I'm using News Blur, which it costs a bit a year. I think it's relatively inexpensive. It might have been $1 a month or something. I'm very happy with News Blur at newsblur.com. And so all of my RSS feeds are there, which I'm not going to show you because I have a bunch of crap in there and you'll think less of me. That's ultimately what it comes down to. I would be glad to show you that on a different account because it's got all my junk in there over the years. I go back to, I forget what my original my original RSS reader was way back. I think I've hopped to 3 or 4 different readers when they shut down the Google reader, which was painful. That's when everybody sort of scrambled. And I had to find one that worked on all my mobile devices. It was a bit of a challenge. But I love an RSS reader. A lot of people said, no, RSS, who uses that? And I think to some degree they may be correct because a lot of what I find is on Twitter. But when I'm at a down point and I can just click open my RSS reader and it's got every article on all of these blogs that I follow of everything they've done, or at least a section of what they've done, and I can skim them very quickly and go right to the data I need, extremely valuable. If you're doing anything with technology, you really need a good RSS reader and you need to add a bunch of stuff to it. And just stuff you probably wouldn't even think that you would want. You can think of it. What do I really want to follow this? Yes, you do. You may not even realize it at the time, but put it in the reader. You don't have to read it, but you may find there's some good stuff there for those. Yeah, those links to the GTS Learning Labs, I do get an affiliate for doing that. I do get a little bit of money back there. That said, that's good. If you end up getting it, that's fine. If you don't buy it, that's fine too. Only purchase that if it's something you feel can really help you. And that's why I love that they have the 1 hour that you can go through. Some people have tried it and said, I can do all this on my own machine. I'm good. Other people said, wow, there's all this servers out there and Wireshark and I can really get into it and I have access for a year. That makes sense for me. Only buy it if it's something that makes sense for you. But I do get a percentage that is applied back when you click from professormesser.com/netlabs. So straight up, no question. Just let everybody know that. There's one of the challenges we have in our industry when doing these kinds of things is how do you keep the website going? And that's those things. You have products, you have advertising, you have partnerships you create. If you're planning to get into doing anything with blogging, or you want to make a business online, it's not any one thing. It's many, many different things that apply and all work together as long as you do it properly. I wouldn't recommend the live labs if I didn't try them myself and think, wow, this is great. I can go through this. I can list through these things. There's some value here. Okay, I'll tell other people about this. I think it's got some good stuff in there. Yeah, I don't know the whole Bitcoin thing or the different currencies, electronic currencies, is something that we're all sitting back and trying to figure out how this is going to affect. It's certainly not being used on a wide scale. So it's not hit that point where you see Bitcoin everywhere, but you're seeing more places now start to offer that. I have a third party that handles the DVDs. If you get an offline DVD, I don't press them here. I don't have that equipment here. I don't ship. I don't do any of those things. I have a third party that does that, and they now accept Bitcoin if I wanted to pay that way. Maybe it'll crash, maybe it won't, to make that happen. To create ProfessorMesser.com, to get the domain, I just bought it. I went to a domain provider at the time. When did I first buy it? I think it was a 1&1. So at the time I was with 1&1 and I just bought it from them, or I bought it from, I think it was 1&1. It might not have been. I might have bought it somewhere else. I just went to a provider. Right now I'm on Hover. I have all my domains on Hover, and that's where ProfessorMesser.com lives. That's and once you have it, then you can do anything with it. Point Professor Messer to this site that, in fact, what I do is I point, ProfessorMesser.com to a reverse proxy, which then sends the information to a load balancer, which then load balances across multiple web servers, which then has a centralized database server on the back end that it talks to that also has caching on it. Whew. So there's the DNS part for me, that's just a tiny little piece. The DNS piece just gets me to that reverse proxy. And from that point on, everything else has to work together. It's remarkable. It always works at all. Yes, Hover. Hover is a DNS provider. If you're familiar with TwoCals, TUCOWS, which is the ultimate collection of Windows software. They're a Canadian company, but they've been around forever. Well, they have a DNS company as well called Hover, HOVER.com. And I have all that with them. I really should put a link on my website. I like them so much. I've called them. I've asked them questions. I did a big migration from 1&1 to Rackspace. They helped me with the migration, or at least the DNS side of the migration. Some good stuff there to be able to do that piece. They were really useful, and their pricing was really good. Forget what it was. 12 months, $12 a year, $15 a year, whatever it was. I get great benefits from that. And they also have some additional capabilities where I can go into their DNS configuration and redirect a DNS to a particular page instead of doing it on my web server. And I prefer doing that on the DNS side if at all possible. So when you go to freeaplus.com, freeaplus.com, it goes to the index page of the A Plus videos on my website. If you go to freenetworkplus.com, it goes to my Network Plus videos. If you go to Free Security Plus, you get the idea. And I just put the redirect right in Hover. It becomes really useful. I did say TwoCals. That was TwoCals. They are a TwoCals company. Everybody knows TwoCals. If you don't, you should. TwoCals, TUCOWS.com is, these are TwoCals. Here they are. And now they call it TwoCals domains, TwoCals downloads. So they're kind of branching out. The domains piece is the Hover piece. I think they call it on their side the TwoCals domains, but they also have the name hover.com. They do as well. It's effectively the same thing. And then the TwoCals downloads, which is what everybody knows TwoCals for. So you can go in here and find Windows, Mac, Linux, web. It's now more than just a collection of Windows software. It's now all kinds of software. So they get a lot of downloads from there. It's a great place to go for downloads. Very useful for that piece. Yes, now it's difficult to mine that cryptocurrency, that electronic currency piece, and get that going. I'm standing back and watching this one. If it was still inexpensive to get in, I might consider it, but that's a bit of a challenge. How many domains did I buy for Professor Messer? A good question. Let's log into Hover and see. Now, I have ProfessorMesser.com, and I also have ProfessorMessor.com, MESSOR, which redirects to Messer. So that's one of those things that's there. And I've got other domains that I've had throughout the years that I've still got on here. And then there's others like the Free A Plus, Free Linux Plus, Free Network Plus, Free Security Plus. And there's others that I have that I bought free something that I just don't use or haven't used yet. Haven't used them yet. There may be other things. I've got a big list of things to do I'll never get to. So that's one of those challenges. And then there's others that I have that are more of a corporate. The LLC, the entity that runs all of this is Messer Studios. So there's a messerstudios.com that currently I think just redirects to Professor Messer. And then there's others throughout the years that I've used. So I have in here, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I got 15 domains that are sitting here, some that are actively used, some that aren't used at all. So that's one of those things to be able to get there. Yeah, good luck with the mining of the cryptocurrency. You know, it'll have value as long as everybody agrees that it has value. If I want to lose my money, I put it in the stock market. I can lose some money in the stock market quickly. You just ask me how you would like to lose money today, and I can tell you how. Yeah, I had to buy Messor, and then once I bought it, Professor Messor, once I bought it in the Hover DNS configuration, it redirects to, it forwards to ProfessorMessor.com. And I could probably come up with other misspellings, but I think at this point you type it badly into Google and Google's really good about figuring it out. So I'm not really having a problem with people finding me as long as they know the name. They can figure it out, or Google will figure it out for them. Thank you, Google. So that's great. That's one of the challenges. There are a number of videos I have on for IPv4 and IPv6, especially IPv6, you just have to know the structure. So you don't have to go into a huge amount of detail with that. You don't have to convert IP4 addresses into the standard that's used for IPv6. You don't have to know a lot about how link local works or subnetting with IPv6. IPv4, you do have to know subnetting, but it's such a small part of the exam that I don't talk about it on the study groups. I think it's more complicated than most people care to watch on a study group, and it's more complicated and more time would be spent on that than is really required for all the other things that would be much easier to learn and probably asked more of on the exam. So that's why I don't talk a lot about that. We do a little bit. I mean, I talked about the classes, and we did a little bit with binary calculations on an earlier study group. So I go into some of that, just not a huge amount of it. Yeah, I think Linux Plus Study Guide would be a good one to have. The Linux Plus content isn't finished yet. I have to finish the content so the study guide can be created. So obviously there's nothing to put into a study guide until I finish the Linux Plus videos. That's what. Now you're transferring to Hover's fine. Your DNS provider, wherever you've registered your DNS now, may have similar capabilities. There may not be a need to be able to transfer it over, but you certainly could. Mobility Plus, it's on my list. That'd be great. You could somehow bend time and space for me. That would be fabulous. That's one of those things that I do have a list, and I'm trying to find the time. That's the biggest challenge. I assure you that there is never a moment when I'm not doing something. I am dedicated to having this endeavor be successful. And so far, it's been remarkably successful. I'm very proud of it. I love what we're doing here. I love the opportunity to make all of this information available for free. And it's a viable business. You really couldn't ask for more than that. So now I just want to do more of it. I was up until 3 this morning just reading about technology. There's another project. There's a completely different project that's different than anything else I've ever done that I'm working on. And at the same time doing this, at the same time doing the daily pop quizzes, at the same time doing these other things. So I would love, you put something up there, I would love to do all of them. Put up any certification. Yes, I want to do that. Yes, I want to do that one too. I would love to do that one as well. It's just one of those things where I just don't have that many cycles. My family would like to see me, and so far that's working out okay. But I have, for those of you that don't know, I have a full-time job. This is what I do after hours and on the weekends. So there's a lot that goes along those lines. I do not accept donations by design. So you want to donate, then subscribe to my YouTube channel. You want to donate, watch the videos on my website. You want to donate, tell other people about what we're doing here. But I specifically do not accept unsolicited and donations with no type of return, or buy a study guide. I price them so that everybody, and I think a lot of people do that. People sent me emails saying, I already passed my A+, but how about the A+ study guides? And I think that's really gratifying. It really gives me motivation to do more and make those things happen. That's really, really useful. Did it only offer an A+ demo? I'll find out, Bradley. I am almost certain they offer a Network Plus demo. I will find out along those lines. I'll send out a tweet this week with more information there. What technology sites do I visit? So let's go to my news blur, and I will not show you, but I'll tell you. Because it's got all the other junk in here. I follow blogs on high level. I follow blogs on media. So traditional media blogs, newspaper, those types, just the business of newspapers. It really wouldn't apply to technology, but it applies to how I incorporate data within Messer Studios and how I package up things and make them available. I love watching organizations that have paywalls to see how they do. I don't want a paywall, but I want to see, or was I right? It's really what I want to know. Did I pick right on that one? I think I did. I follow a lot of law blogs, legal blogs. You wouldn't expect that, but I do. Back in the distant past, I would have loved to have gone into law. Would have loved to have been a lawyer. Really? Yeah, I would. I would love to do intellectual property law. I would love to do copyright law. It really applies back to the things that I need to know. Didn't go that way, but I got a great IP lawyer, so I'm fine with that. It all worked out. That's what I'm saying. Information security. I have a lot of blogs. InfoSec Island is okay. Obviously Krebs. I showed you that one. There's some other minor blogs of people that just make videos and have a blog. I like to watch them. I like to see what they're doing. It's really cool to see people take the idea of learning how to capture video and take their security things and put it in there and put it online. I love to watch that kind of thing. There's something about making content and putting it online and making it available to everybody that just warms the cockles of my heart. It really invigorates me. It makes me want to do more. I love it when people do that. So there's just individuals that do those kind of things. I find them and I stick them in here. I have blogs here that I've been monitoring for tons of years. The latest ones have been things like Recode, which is the new technology blog company, media company, really, Recode. Are they at recode.com? What did they get? I think they did. Is that what they ended up? No, it's not. Re/code. Come on, Google. Give me a thing. Recode.net is what they got. So Recode is the Kara Swisher. It really, they built an amazing thing there. So I'm definitely watching them. They're a great blog. All of a sudden, just boom. Now they're rocking and rolling. Yeah, I do like to watch the DEF CON. I do like to watch the industry. I've done some training at places like CanSec West. I did an InMap course at CanSec West. So I love those kinds of environments. Also, one that I go to a lot. I have one that, let me scroll down. I have a mess of things. Boing Boing, obviously. A lot of World of Warcraft blogs. That's why I don't show you this, because you'll think all he does is sit around and mine gold. Things like Flowing Data, which is a blog about the presentation of data. You wouldn't really think that would apply to what I do here, and yet that really, really does. Love to watch The Verge and see what they do there. Things like the official Google blog I like to monitor. Others that are operating system specific. I have, what else would be good to say in here? I do a lot with OS 10, so a lot of the Mac ones. Of course, I'm in Florida, so I have Disney stuff in here. Let's go to Disney World all the time. That just gives you sort of an overview. I really should take some of my favorite ones and just tweet them out every now and then. Hey, I do something with this. There was a great article here. I just don't. Really need to work on that and get that going. Okay, it is top of the hour again. We've Been sitting here for a
90
while.
seconds.
Oh, well. And she reminded me that this poor person's been hanging on for 15 minutes, and I didn't even notice you were there. 559, are you there?
Yes, hello.
Oh, you've got 90 seconds, I'm afraid. What's your question?
I was curious if you could touch on promiscuous mode.
I certainly can. This will probably hang up on you before we get to that point, but I absolutely can talk about that. Thanks for calling. Thanks for getting in there under the wire.
60 seconds.
Thanks for holding.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Promiscuous mode. This is one where you may see this in the configuration of a piece of software. Good examples, things like Wireshark. And let me see if I can load up my Wireshark and give you a list here of what's here. So I've got my Wireshark here. Oh, I don't. Wireshark will not move to other windows. Wow. Okay. Wireshark. I need to update my Wireshark to the latest version of that. Promiscuous mode is a special mode that some network interfaces allow you to turn on. Obviously, by default, the network interface that is on your computer is designed to look for messages that are destined only for it. Has a MAC address. It's only going to pay attention to the information heading to it that matches the MAC address coming inbound. So the destination MAC address. And it may watch a lot of traffic go by, like other things that are being broadcast out or sent out every port of a switch. But the information coming in, it's only going to pull that into the interface and then send it on to the operating system if it's something specific to this machine. Could also be a multicast if that machine is looking for certain multicasts, and certainly broadcasts. But generally broadcasts and what we call unicasts, which are packets that are only destined to go to that one device. The challenge, of course, is that if you wanted to run Wireshark, where you wanted to capture all the packets on the network, well, your interface card is only looking for packets destined for it. Well, that's no good. I want packets that are going to everybody. And so the interface card that's on your computer, and we're talking, this could be Ethernet, it could be wireless. The interface card has to be specifically designed to go into what we call promiscuous mode. And as the name implies, promiscuous mode says, I'll take data from anybody. It turns on this capability. Usually it turns it on automatically as part of the application that you're running. The application tells the card, go into promiscuous mode. We're going to capture everything. And it turns on promiscuous mode. And now that adapter card captures all traffic from everywhere that's even on the network. Just comes in, gathers it all, whether it's destined for this computer or not. And for packet gathering, that's exactly what you want. You want to be able to do that. Now, some adapters don't have the ability to go into promiscuous mode, and therefore you can't use them that way in this protocol analysis software. So you need a different adapter card to be able to do that. The challenge with that is that maybe if you're using this as your analyzer, then you want something that has that capability. That's why you'll see some devices for capturing packets are external devices that you connect through Ethernet, and they do the capturing because they're built for higher speed and they're built for promiscuity in capturing of the data. And that's pretty useful to have. If you're someone who does a lot of network analysis, then you know which cards are available to you, or you've configured a laptop with very specific adapters so that you can use that capability. When you stop your capture in that program, you stop the capture in Wireshark, it generally, or you exit the program, it generally switches the computer back to be in a non-promiscuous mode, back to normal, so that you can then perform the normal things that you do on your computer. So a good question. That's promiscuous mode. Almost wish we would have saved that one. I could have used that one next month. Okay, we're at the end of my voice, and the Mrs. Professor Messer has plans for me this afternoon to do actual work. So I am off to be able to do those things. If you have some other questions or things that you would like to have in the study group for next month, you are more than welcome to send those to me. You can send them to james@professormesser.com, or you can easily go to the Professor Messer website, and at the very top of every page is a Contact Us link, which is really contact me, because there's no us here. contact me, and that goes right to my mobile device, goes right to my Google Mail inbox when my Google Mail is working. That's a good way to get those to me as well. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We're shutting down the stream. Thanks for another great month of a study group. And I'll see you next month on the Professor Messer Network Plus Study Group. Thanks, everyone.